A wake-up call on Broadway. Eric Church breaks his silence on Morgan Wallen's rooftop arrest. On a quiet night in early April 2024, country music legend Eric Church was at home doing what millions of Americans were doing, watching college basketball. But his peaceful evening would soon be interrupted by a phone call that would ripple across the entertainment world. On the other end of the line, Morgan Wallen, country music's biggest and most controversial star, calling from the street outside Chiefs Bar, Church's own rooftop establishment in downtown Nashville. That night, Wallen had done something that would dominate headlines, ignite public debate, and, perhaps most surprisingly, mark a turning point in his personal life. The incident that shook Nashville. The facts are well known by now. On that fateful evening, Morgan Wallen was arrested after allegedly throwing a chair from the sixth-floor rooftop of Chiefs Bar, located on Broadway in the heart of Nashville. The chair plummeted to the sidewalk below, landing just 3 feet from 2 police officers. The event immediately raised eyebrows and questions, not only because of Wallen's fame, but because of the sheer recklessness of the act. Authorities swiftly charged Wallen with 3 felony counts of reckless endangerment and 1 count of disorderly conduct. News outlets quickly picked up the story, and within hours, it became one of the most talked-about moments in country music that year. While Wallen's fanbase and critics alike debated what this meant for the star's career, few knew what was happening behind the scenes, namely, a phone call that revealed the raw, unfiltered aftermath of that very public mistake. "Hey, this just happened." In a revealing interview with the Los Angeles Times, Eric Church recounted the exact moment he heard from Wallen. Sitting at home, watching basketball, his phone rang unexpectedly. "Morgan called me from the street after it happened," Church said. "I was watching college basketball and he said, 'Hey, this just happened.' I said, 'Oh.'" Church's reaction was immediate, not of anger or dismissal, but of concern and recognition. He understood that this wasn't just another celebrity mishap. "I knew it was going to be noisy, and it was damn noisy." Indeed, the incident dominated the news cycle. For weeks, Wallen's name was splashed across television screens, news websites, and social media. His reputation, already marred by previous controversies, seemed to hang in the balance once again. A history of highs and lows. For those who have followed Morgan Wallen's meteoric rise, this was far from the first time he had found himself at the center of controversy. From a promising contestant on The Voice to a chart-topping country music star, Wallen's journey has been marked by both undeniable talent and frequent turbulence. In early 2021, Wallen faced public backlash and a brief industry-wide boycott after a video surfaced of him using a racial slur. Though he apologized and took time away from the spotlight, the incident raised important questions about accountability, redemption, and the role of celebrity in shaping cultural standards. Yet despite it all, Wallen's fanbase remained fiercely loyal. His 2023 album, One Thing at a Time, was a massive commercial success, and he continued selling out arenas across the country. Still, many wondered if the star had truly changed or if more trouble was around the corner. Eric Church, mentor, friend, confidant. One person who never fully turned his back on Wallen was Eric Church. Known for his rebellious spirit and poetic lyricism, Church has carved out his own lane in country music, often refusing to play by industry rules while maintaining deep respect from both peers and fans. Over the years, Church became something of a mentor to Wallen. Their relationship wasn't just professional, it was personal. They shared the kind of bond forged not only through music, but through candid conversations, mutual respect, and an understanding of the pressures that come with stardom. So when Wallen called Church on April 7th, it wasn't just a plea for help, it was a moment of vulnerability. Church could have responded with disappointment or anger, but he saw something else in Wallen's voice, an opportunity for growth. It was actually a good thing for Mo. In his late Times interview, Church offered a surprisingly optimistic take on the fallout from the rooftop incident. "It was actually a good thing for Mo," he said. "I think that was a line for him, and he's done really well since then. It was a thing he's reacted positively to as a person." This wasn't just idle praise. According to Church, Wallen didn't retreat into denial or disappear in shame. Instead, he faced the situation head-on. He went down to Chiefs and apologized to the staff, shook everybody's hand. Church explained, "I was proud of him." That kind of personal accountability is rare in celebrity culture, where PR teams often handle damage control behind closed doors. Wallen's decision to return to the bar and apologize directly to those affected marked a significant step, not only in rebuilding his public image, but in growing as a person. A turning point. I ain't been in a bar since. Wallen himself echoed this sentiment in a recent conversation with comedian and podcast host Theo Von. When asked about how the event impacted his life, Wallen was candid. "Since that fateful evening, I haven't stepped foot in a bar," he said. "It's definitely the best thing for me. I ain't been in a bar since the last time I was in a bar that everybody knows about. The most public time I was in a bar, that's the last time I was in a bar." The honesty in his words struck a chord with many. It wasn't a rehearsed statement or a strategic move to gain sympathy. It was a recognition of boundaries, an understanding that certain behaviors were incompatible with the kind of life he wanted to lead moving forward. The power of public mistakes. In today's culture of call-outs and cancellations, it's easy to reduce public figures to their worst moments. But stories like Wallen's, and the way churches supported him through it, remind us that growth often emerges from struggle. The rooftop chair incident could have been just another scandal, another meme, another cautionary tale about fame gone wrong. But in this case, it became a pivot point, a moment of reckoning that inspired real change. Of course, not everyone will be quick to forgive. Some critics still question Wallen's sincerity and worry that his fame provides him with too many second chances. These concerns are valid, and accountability should never be traded for convenience. But personal growth, especially in the public eye, is often messy and nonlinear. What matters is what happens after the apology, what choices are made in the aftermath. The Church Wallen legacy. Eric Church's role in this saga is more than just a business owner whose rooftop bar became the site of an infamous event. He acted as a sounding board, a guide, and a reminder of the power of honest mentorship. In supporting Wallen without enabling him, Church struck a delicate balance. He didn't excuse the behavior, but he recognized its context. He gave Wallen space to fall, and the tools to get back up. In the broader landscape of country music, a genre rooted in storytelling, hardship, and redemption, this story fits right in. It's not clean or simple, but it's human, and maybe that's what country music has always done best. Telling stories that reflect the complexity of real life. What comes next? As of now, Morgan Wallen is still facing legal proceedings related to the incident. The outcome of those charges will determine much about his short-term future. But in terms of personal growth, it seems the rooftop bar fiasco was more than just a bad decision, it was a moment of clarity. And as for Eric Church, his willingness to speak openly about the incident signals a rare kind of leadership in an industry that often stays silent in the face of controversy. So what do you make of all this? Maybe it's too early to tell whether this truly marks a new chapter in Wallen's life. Maybe there are more hard lessons ahead. But if this story has taught us anything, it's that personal transformation often begins at rock bottom, or in this case, 6 floors above Broadway. Final thoughts. A culture ready for redemption. In a world quick to judge but slow to forgive, perhaps the Morgan Wallen story offers a middle ground, where mistakes are acknowledged, amends are made, and growth is possible. Eric Church's voice in this narrative serves not just as a mentor's insight, but as a reminder that behind every headline is a human being capable of change. The question is no longer whether Wallen will make headlines, but whether his next ones will be about music, maturity, and a man who learned from his fall.